Pop, pop.
You got to hold down the crack because I only had the cork pop.
Yeah, I heard it though. It sounded nice.
We have a special Wednesday night episode. It is June 7th, 10 p.m. And I thought I had one more day to go to the store and get beer, but we're going a day early, so it's a wine type of night.
Yeah, cutting into the cellar real quick to get something out.
Exactly. We have a lot to get to. It's transfer season. A lot of news in this past week, which is crazy. We will get into all the news, the transfer news, rumors, and after that, we'll do a main event of a player draft for next season. But first, we did have a bet. The San Diego Loyal, and the Oakland Roots head-to-head, a hometown showdown.
Mm-hmm.
Who ended up winning?
Yeah, so we had the Oakland Roots in San Diego on the road with a 2-0 victory. So Austin's going to take 2 drinks for the 2-goal differential over his hometown club. We didn't get to talk about it enough. I don't think we talked about it at all on the show. We didn't even realize it was going down until it was mid-game. But yeah, definitely something moving forward. Every time they're going to play head-to-head, we're going to be putting something on the line every time they go up against each other. So definitely one to look out for in the future.
I'm also going to take a drink for the technical difficulty of my camera not focusing. So if you're watching on the YouTubes, that was technical difficulty number 1.
Number 1 of the show. Yeah, with the season over, we've lost a lot of our start of the show drinks, so we're going to be getting a little creative here
The drinking
over
rules.
the next couple months. Yeah, so bear with us on that one.
We're going to need to up the drinking rules. That's one of them. We always do this in one take. We don't edit. We don't delete. We don't do anything. So there are technical difficulties. We just screw around. And that's number 1. We drink every time it happens. Let's get
Cheers.
into the news. The biggest one, Messi ends up going to the MLS, not Saudi Arabia, not Barcelona. He goes to Inter Miami. Is that right? One of the Miami teams. I don't know.
Was that a typo? Was that supposed to be Milan?
So allegedly the deal is worth roughly 150 million to Messi. However, he gets equity in the team, and he also is going to, I guess they're in talks, haven't solidified or reported the official number, but he's going to have a deal with Adidas and Apple on revenue sharing. So if there's revenue growth for those two companies, he's going to enjoy part of that.
Interesting. So is that, yeah, so I'm totally out of the loop on this. I saw the news he was going, but I haven't seen anything about the deal. So that last part's really interesting to me, both the equity in the team and then this Adidas and Apple. So is that something through MLS, or is that something through the Inter Miami team?
Well, this year Apple unveiled the whatever they call it, the MLS season pass or whatever.
Season ticket or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. So it must be, they must all be working together, the team, the MLS, Apple, to grow everything. So I'm sure they all had their hands in this, because this is not just going to help Miami, it's going to help the whole league. Allegedly. Yeah. So yeah, and then Adidas, I'm assuming, is the official sponsor of the team.
Okay, so that's where they come into play. Any comment on that? How much equity he got in the team? Has that been
it's either
shared anywhere?
Not that I could find.
Okay.
So
very interesting.
As of 6-7, I couldn't find anything on the internet.
I'm sure there'll be a lot more coming out in the days ahead. So I think we actually talked about this. I don't remember if it was last time we met or the time before, but we just discussed what we thought he should do. And we thought eventually he should make his way to the MLS, or Saudi Arabia, whatever it is. But I know we both wanted him to play at least one more year, going back to Barcelona, closing out his story there. he still seemed to be good enough to be a contributor, not just somebody writing everyone else on the team. So I get it. Obviously, the financial side and the career side, it kind of makes sense from a publicity standpoint. But I really wish we could have seen him do one more season at a big European club.
Agreed. I mean, he, like you said, he's got at least one more season, no doubt. He may not be the Messi
Yeah,
of old, but he is still a major contributor to top teams in the world.
exactly. I mean, he's coming off winning the World Cup. I guess it's just really disappointing that his last hurrah in Europe was with PSG, with sort of this underperforming diva team that, if he had played, the last 2 years or so still with Barcelona, I get it. You kind of go out on a high note, win the World Cup, say goodbye. But it just kind of seemed like an anticlimactic end to his European career, being that his last team is going to be PSG with all the drama and everything that came with it. It's just it doesn't sit right with me. I don't really like how that ended.
I hate how the MLS is just a retirement community for world stars, and it's just it's so lame. I actually liked this Saudi team league poaching all these players because then it made me think,
Yeah,
well, shit, the MLS is going to have to become a real league and actually get some players in their prime to compete because they're not going to be able to fork over the same amount of money these guys are. So they
yeah,
have some competition for these stars, which is why they probably had to throw in that revenue part of the deal and equity in the team to make sure he signed with them.
yeah,
Because I would love to see the MLS get better, but they're not going to get better if they just parade old stars around and overpay them to get people in the seats. Having said that,
yeah.
I guess the first game in Miami, the cheapest ticket you can get is like $500.
That's what I was about to say. This feels much more like a game changer than so many of the other signings we've seen in the past. I mean, this is legitimately now like I'm going to be telling you, hey, we should go to the whatever LA Galaxy game or whatever, right? Like it's kind of the next tier up in terms of attractiveness of watching the league. Still, I agree with you that we need to slowly but surely kind of break away from the same old MO of just bringing in players to a retirement community. But it seems like it's slowly edging that way. And like you said, with the push from the Saudi League and some of the other Middle Eastern clubs, it feels like it's going to force them to move in that direction, which is probably going to be a net positive in the end. But it's still probably, I feel like the MLS is just so slow moving and evolving that it's still going to take some time till we get to a really competitive league.
Yeah, yeah, I agreed. But it's just they've been doing this since David Beckham, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they brought in a few guys here and there, but they're still not where they need to be. Um, since we're on the topic of MLS, I came across a post that I thought was interesting, talking about
Uh-huh.
why the U.S. is so far behind the rest of the world with soccer, and the reason is academies. Many academies in Europe are free.
Mm-hmm.
They make their money by selling the players that they develop. In the
Mm-hmm.
U.S., it is very expensive to play in an academy. You're paying probably like, I don't know, $4 to $5 grand a year just to play,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how they're generating their money. So they're not. There's no incentive for the team to develop the players, or not as much incentive to develop the players because they already got the money and they're not developing in the same way. It's just different, and I feel like it's a major flaw in the system.
Yeah.
And if you look at our national team, all of the players on our national team, most of them, especially the top players, play overseas, were developed
Mm-hmm.
overseas.
Developed overseas. Yep.
So
Yeah, it's definitely just kind of a fallacy in the strategy we've had for so long, right? In terms of truly developing strong talent here. We already have the disadvantage of soccer not being the number one sport and having at least 2 or 3 other sports that will typically poach the biggest athletes, right? And the players with the most potential over, soccer. I think it's slowly been changing a little bit, like a lot, like we were just talking about the MLS, like slow change in the US, but we need drastic change if we really want to be competitive anytime soon. It takes a decade probably to really develop a strong national team and a strong player core and base. And you got to start now if you want the benefits to pay off, 8-10 years from now. So the change needs to come faster, and there's got to be just a new way to look at things if we really want to be competing with the top in the world.
If I feel like there's got to be one club in the MLS, Miami. You got $150 million to give to Messi. You probably have enough money to start your own academy and do it the way European academies do it. You know what I mean? And then develop the players. Maybe that's how you grow domestically. It's more of a long-term approach, but I feel like it needs to start somewhere.
Yeah, that'd definitely be an interesting read to look at. I think it probably expounds upon a lot of the things we were already thinking, but probably puts it in an eloquent way, with actual data to back it up. But
what do you mean? We're
being
not
that
eloquent?
we already, I'm speaking for myself here. We'll say that. Austin has a way with words.
You are pretty eloquent. Let me tell you.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Jumping back real quick to Messi, though. Overall, do you think this helps or hurts his legacy by making this move? Or do you think it's just at the end it doesn't really matter?
His career's over. No matter what he does in the MLS, it's not going to affect it to me. Because there's no pressure. What is he gonna? If he wins the MLS Cup, it's like, oh yeah, he won. Cool. He's like, nobody cares about the MLS, so he's not going to win the Ballon d'Or. He's not he's past his prime. We're not going to see him in any big games. LA Galaxy maybe will be the biggest one. Who knows? But yeah, it doesn't affect it for me.
Okay. I mean, to be like I said, yeah, same thing. I'm disappointed, right? So yeah, in the end, 4 years from now, looking back, doesn't really change anything, right? But in the moment, definitely feeling some disappointment and wishing it could have gone a little bit differently.
Absolutely. All right, let's move to MLS Middle East. We have now Cristiano Ronaldo, Benzema, N'Golo Kante, and Wilfred Zaha joining him in the Saudi League. Benzema, we kind of saw coming. Zaha, it hurts me dearly, but
poured one out for our boy Zaha.
Zaha, this one's for you, dude. Streets won't forget. But this one surprised me. Conte,
yeah.
You're telling me? Look, I know it's hard to turn down $100 million or whatever it was, but I feel like he had plenty of good years left in him,
Yeah, I think so often, perfect example is with him. So he had some injury issues this year, right? Which you can look at two ways. One is he's getting older. This is going to happen all the time now. If he plays at the top level, we should get rid of him now. So I see that stance. The other side of that, though, is he was injured this year. Everyone thinks he's, done. He's too old. He's out. But he basically rested the majority of this last year. He definitely has the energy to play at least 1 more year, 2 more years at the top level on any of these top teams. So definitely of all of these guys, the one that I think I was most surprised about that he was doing that. I see the situation with Zaha, Benzema, I get, but Conte of those three is, I think, the biggest surprise because he could really help. I could see some of these big teams paying the money. I mean, maybe not as much as the Saudi League, but at least being competitive with it, I would think, to get somebody of his caliber on your team. I'm shocked. I'm shocked this is where it ended up.
No, I was surprised too. Like Zaha makes sense. Like it hurts me, but it makes sense. The Conte one, okay, he's 32 years old. I still think he's got a few years, as you said.
Yeah.
I guess it's just difficult for these guys to be like, look, I'm at the end of my career. A nice little retirement check, just to be like, I've worked my ass off, my whole life. I don't have many years left. Let's just cash out, and I'll be set. It's hard. It's hard to say no to that. So I'm not
hard to say no to
mad at him about it, but just surprised, as you said.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to explain it, right? From the personal standpoint, not that surprising, right? I guess my surprise is that there weren't as many competing offers from the big clubs that would want somebody of his level, right? That's where the surprise comes in. And maybe there were offers out there that were competitive, and he said, no, I want the most I can get, and decided to go there. But yeah, it makes sense. I get it.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to some real leagues now. Bellingham is officially a Real Madrid player. We kind of saw this coming as well. A lot of reports about it, but it's now official. What are your thoughts? Is he straight into the starting lineup for you?
I think so. I when you pay money like that, they have to be. Whether or not you think he should be, I think it's a given with somebody at that level. I think we talked about it, last time. I think it's a great move for him in terms of, we know they're keeping, I believe, both Kroos and Modric for another year now. So he has two absolute legends in similar positions that he plays that he can learn from for a year here and sort of transition. So I definitely think he comes in to start. I think they'll start him for a little while and then work in, Modric or Kroos a little bit more as we get halfway through the season, right? Their final season, give him some more playing time. But I think he's got to start right away, and I think it's going to end up being sort of the perfect setup for him, sort of a transition year, learn as much as he can, get his feet wet with the other guys that are still going to be there, like Valverde and Camavinga. So I think he made the best decision both for his career and also helping Real Madrid in a transition phase for the team.
Yeah, and give some rest days to Modric and Kroos. I would like to see a day where they don't play any of the old guys. I just want to see all the young guys in the midfield and just see what that looks like. I want to see Bellingham. I want to see Valverde. I want to see Tchouaméni in there. I want to see Camavinga. Like, I just want to see what that would look like, because all these guys that are so talented and so young, it'd be really, really cool to just see it work out.
Yeah. So while we're there, I think I had a link here I was going to share with you. Yeah. So this is the 10 most expensive signings in the history of Real Madrid.
Oh, this is great.
So where do you think this recent signing of Jude Bellingham ranks all time? So these are not adjusted for inflation.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So it's got to be recent ones.
The more recent ones obviously are going to be near the top.
We're not talking about transfer. We're just talking about the contract itself.
No. This is the transfer fee.
Okay. Yeah. Transfer fee. I'm going to say it's in the top 10, but I don't know if it's top 5. Let's go 6.
It is number 2.
Wow. Okay.
Their second largest signing ever.
That's crazy.
Okay. Who do you think takes the cake at number 1?
I want to say Ronaldo, but it was kind of a little while ago, so it might not hold up anymore. I'm not sure. I'll guess Ronaldo.
Ronaldo's at number 4, so he went for 96 million euros back in 2009. So,
that's close to Bellingham.
I know, adjusting for inflation, probably worth more, but in terms of raw dollars, at number 4. Gareth Bale at number 3.
Ooh.
I think he was at exactly 100 million. Jude Bellingham's at 103 and number 2. Eden Hazard, 115 million euros to
Ouch.
do absolutely nothing for them.
Oh, to just eat and eat and eat. Damn, dude. I saw some Chelsea highlights of Hazard back in the day when he was like the best player in the world. And man,
Yeah.
dude, he was unstoppable. Like you see
Mm-hmm.
why they paid him that much, but he has just
Yep.
been a fat turd on Real
Yep.
Madrid, and just it's such a shame because he was such a good player, such a good player.
Yeah. Yeah. Really. It's just funny. You look at those top fours, like that one worked out. That one worked out. Bellingham, obviously tons of potential, probably should work out. Hazard,
Yeah,
just
big,
total miss.
dude. Yeah, that one hurts. Is Jovic on that list?
Let's see. So rounding out the top 10, so we have Chouameni at number 5. They bought him for 80 million. Zidane at number 6,
Wow, he's
all the way
still
back in
number 6.
2001. $76 million pound euros back in 2001.
Wow.
James Rodriguez at number 7.
Ooh, that one hurts a little bit too.
Kaká at number 8. Figo at number 9. And Jovic at number 10.
Okay,
60
that's right.
million in 2019.
I remember that. I remember that. And yeah, now to see him on Fiorentina, and we'll get to the Europa Conference League game later, but that one didn't hit.
That one didn't work out.
Yeah, that one didn't hit.
Most of those other ones hit, so they're batting a good percentage. They're batting good at the plate, but there's still always going to be some outs in there.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. This is good news, at least for me. I think you'll agree. Rafael Leao of AC Milan has signed a new contract with them, so he is officially staying for now. The contract is through 2028, which is
Ooh,
5-year contract, pretty solid. So you know
yeah,
he's at least going to be there for the next few seasons. But that's really cool to see because to keep that talent in the Italian league on that AC Milan
yeah,
team is, I love to see that.
yeah. Somebody that we're talking about being one of the probably top would have been probably one of the top 5 most expensive transfer fees ever if he moved this summer. Probably not eclipsing Neymar, obviously, but potentially, we're talking second or third or fourth highest, most expensive transfer ever if he were to move. Really awesome to see him stay in Serie A, bringing a little bit more, showing that Serie A is, a little bit on the come up now from where it was a few years ago. Yeah, really, really cool to see. I'm excited for Serie A to keep good players instead of just developing and shipping them out. So
Yeah, especially
yeah,
non-Italian
hopefully.
players.
Exactly. Oh, good point. Yeah. And hopefully he stays the 5 years. That would be really cool.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic because they have a solid roster. They grab a couple of guys. I feel like they
Yeah,
could they could make another run in the Champions League, no doubt.
definitely.
This one hurts me a little bit too, but I also understand it. Um, our 3M team midfield for Brighton is being broken up. Alexis McAllister is going to Liverpool, which is pretty much the perfect fit for both sides here. Both sides
Yeah.
being Liverpool and McAllister. I feel like he's going to thrive in their system, and they are going to. He's going to help them be better because where they lacked, I don't want to say talent, but I feel like their midfield was their weak point. And I think he can provide a lot of the things that they had trouble with last year, with the Henderson, Tiago, what's that young kid's name I can never pronounce?
Bashetic, yeah.
Yeah, like there was never really a cohesive midfield unit, and I feel like putting him in there just instantly makes them better.
Oh, agreed 100%. I think we talked about it a little bit before about we were just reminiscing a little bit about the peak of the Liverpool Firmino, Sane, or Sadio Mane and Salah combo. And I think that's how they ended up in this situation with like a weaker midfield because they had the 3 offensive players that could create without the need of a number 10, right? Without the need of a solid sort of linker of play between defensive midfield and the attack. And so when that started falling apart, they didn't have the strength in the other areas to actually make up for that difference. So I think this plugs that perfect hole, like you're saying, that they had in their team. And he's going to make so many of those guys better. Players like Salah, players like Luis Diaz, hopefully somebody like Nunez, right? Gakpo. I think they're going to be, the really big winners here. They're finally going to get the service that they really need to thrive.
It's crazy. I mean, I think it's the right move for him, but at the same time, he's not going to be in the Champions League next year, and his Brighton team will be.
That's crazy. Well, they'll be in Europa.
They'll be in Europa, yes.
Europa League, yeah. Yeah, so you won't be playing in Europe, which is pretty crazy.
No, they won't. No.
Yeah.
Did they get... Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Newcastle made it
Champions Newcastle, yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
Europa. Sorry.
So the other part of this... the other part of this that I thought was really interesting is I don't know if you saw the price that he went for.
I don't have it written down. I don't remember it.
Okay. Knowing that Bellingham went for 100 million, what do you think someone like McAllister should go for?
Well, it's the same. Oof. Honestly, around the same. I feel like I value McAllister as much as a Bellingham, but they're not going to be. So I would guess like 60 mil.
He went for only 35 million.
That's a steal. That is
it's an absolute steal.
Liverpool are so
I don't know
smart.
how Liverpool does this stuff, man. They always get these signings at like that mid-range level, of spend, yet they're like a big team,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know I don't know how they managed to work it, but this is the type of stuff they do. They go and get this guy who's undervalued, in the market for what he should probably be worth.
Well, I shared that
and
stat
it's
with
the
you.
perfect fit.
Yeah, I shared that stat with you last week. That was team spend since 2016 in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And Liverpool was 10th on that list.
Yeah.
Because they do exactly what you said. Look at the trio we just talked about. Sadio Mane, Salah, and Firmino. Like, all those guys, incredible, but they weren't bought for top dollar.
Yeah.
They're so smart. They're so smart with their signings.
They're smart and developed. So, yeah, they're
another win.
Great signing. It'll be I'm going to enjoy watching Liverpool more next year knowing that he's on the team, definitely.
Yeah. Well, filling that hole that McAllister left behind is U.S. men's international Weston McKinnie. Let's go. This pumps me up so much.
Staying in the Premier League.
That's an American. We drink anytime we mention an American. Weston McKinnie, cheers, baby.
Yeah, really, really cool to see.
I think it was like 21.5 mil pounds, something like that. So a pretty solid signing. I assume this was their McAllister insurance. This got done before the McAllister deal was final. I'm sure they knew that was coming, though.
Mm-hmm.
We can still call the midfield 3M, because we got another M in there for Brighton, if Matoma and March say. How do you think he's going to fit?
I don't think he's going to be a good replacement for McAllister in the role that McAllister played, but I feel like there's enough of the offensive type of players there that McKinney can fit in very well, right? I think his game, box-to-box midfield game, getting involved on the offensive side, but not leading the charge on the offensive side, right? I think is actually going to be a great complement to the team that they've kind of developed. So I think they'll have to change maybe the formation a little bit, right? Or the personnel that they play together. But I think it definitely can work. And I'm really excited to see it because I feel like it's going to be an opportunity much different than what happened at Leeds and what we were seeing at Juventus. That's going to fit his game really well and allow him to actually grow and be more comfortable in how he naturally wants to play the game.
Agreed. I think that the coach, De Zerbi, I'm excited to see what he can do with McKinney because
Yeah.
I feel like he did an excellent job this year of making almost all of them, I feel like, outplayed their history. Uh, that's they all played as a team, and they were he was so smart with how he used all of his players. And we're going to talk about another Brighton guy leaving, but I feel like they lost. Who else did they lose? They lost the dude. Trossard went to Arsenal, and then who else did they lose? Did they lose one more guy? I can't remember.
During the year?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they every year they've lost somebody. They lost Cucurella at the start of the year.
Cucurella,
They
that's
lost
what it was.
Trossard during the year. Yeah.
But they just plugged in a new guy, and boom, they were just as good. So I feel like you said, this is going to be a much better position for McKinney to thrive in. Let's just hope he's not injured and comes into the season healthy and in shape. So that's my only caveat. If he's healthy, if he's not being called fat boy by the crowd, then he'll be a winner.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mentioned it. You said Caicedo to Chelsea for 80 million? Question mark?
Oh yeah. So as a potential departure, yeah. So that's one of the latest rumors I saw. I've seen rumors both for Caicedo and Estupiñán both leaving. Both seem to be pretty highly coveted by a lot of the other teams, particularly in the Premier League. But yeah, that's the most recent rumor is $80 million for Caicedo, over twice as much as McAllister went for.
Chelsea
If
is
it's crazy
so
to
dumb.
think about.
As like Liverpool is on one end of the spectrum and Chelsea is on the other, of like smart signings and just throwing twice as much money at a player when they probably don't even need that player anyways. It's unbelievable. Chelsea needs to figure out what they're doing because it's not working.
Yeah.
It's not working.
It feels very much in the vein of all the other Chelsea transfers we talked about before. Like, good player, is he really the right fit for the team and the personnel they have? I think that's really hard to answer. It's like, it's a good player. They're going to overpay because he's high in the market right now and he's in demand. And he might not end up being anything near what they actually need for their team. Right? It just doesn't make any sense. And it just, so far, we haven't seen much change in the behavior of Chelsea, I would say, as we go into the offseason.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a rumor. All those other ones are done deals. The other rumor we have is Harry Kane is not going to Real Madrid officially, allegedly, whatever. But Man United is still in the running. So it'll be interesting to see where Harry Kane goes. Where do you think he's going to land?
I think he's going to end up staying. I think it's just a giant propaganda show that's been going on.
Where do you want him to go?
I mean, in my heart of hearts, I want him to stay and I want them to be successful. I think that would be the most awesome, right? It'd be the most fitting thing. But the reality of that is definitely on the lower side. We talked about it before. It seemed like Man U was the best destination for him over Real Madrid. I think he could slide in and just absolutely kill there. So I feel like that's the best soccer destination for him. Mm-hmm. The emotional and I don't know, entertainment side would be that he stays at Tottenham, and things either go great with the new coach or things go terrible, and we've got a whole nother season of what we saw this year going down.
I know. I think if I were Man United, if they're rumored to be looking at every single player in the world, they should just look at Harry Kane and Harry Kane only. Be like, this is the missing piece that will put us over the top. They need an elite striker. They don't have one. Weghorst was not that guy.
Nope.
and there's not many out there, Harry Kane would be perfect. Absolutely perfect. They should just put all their bread into that basket and swing for the fence and do a Chelsea and overpay. Just get it done. Whatever needs to happen, make it happen. So
yeah, just to hear that they're in the market for citing someone like Neymar and stuff, it's
oh
just
my
like
god, don't waste
put
your
put
time.
your attention and focus where you really need it, right? Like put it at the targets that don't just jump on the bandwagon of the big name that's being talked about. It's, go for what's really going to help your team.
Exactly. They, yeah. Having said that, I want him to stay at Tottenham. And on your Neymar point, anybody that signs Neymar this offseason, I'm going to think it's a bad signing.
Yeah.
Anybody. Because they're going to pay a price that is insanely high for a player that, at this stage in his career, I don't think he's going to help your team that much. Unless you're a lower level team, but he's not going to go to a lower level team.
Nope.
So,
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving strikes again.
Yep. He lives.
Okay, tell me about. Let's finish the rumors real quick, and then we'll jump to the
Okay.
ownership question. So yeah, I saw this too. Real Madrid is eyeing Kai Havertz. Does this make any sense to you whatsoever? Have they watched any Kai Havertz this year?
I think what I believe is happening is that they're looking at him as a second striker, right? I think they're thinking we need to go get two strikers, right? We lost Benzema. Who do we really have at striker that we trust? Nobody. So I think in their mind, they're approaching this offseason as we need two strikers. So I feel like that's what's going on, even if that's not what's being said, is they're out there searching for a big dollar guy like that they want to go and get, but they need a second guy as well. And they're like, oh, we have an opportunity to lock that up, sooner rather than later. Let's go do it. I don't necessarily disagree. I don't know what the price would be for him. I don't disagree with bringing him in as like a second striker, or to play off a striker, to play like a deeper striker. I don't think he's, like we talked about before, he's not a bad player, but he's not going to solve your dire striker needs, So
He's not a
I
Real Madrid striker.
he's not, and he can't be a target that's going to fill the shoes of Benzema. Like that's just on top of all the situations he's been in. That's just asking for failure.
So much pressure
Here,
to put on him.
come in and fill in for our one of the greatest strikers of all time. Good luck.
Yeah, and I could see him just crumbling under that pressure, and it would be a shame. Because, like I said, I don't dislike him. I just think he's constantly overrated.
Yeah.
And I really don't think he's a true number 9. If he is, if that's what he thinks he is, he's not an elite striker. He's just not.
He's not.
Good player, though. We both like him. So
yeah, he's just not in the right position. So it is interesting. I will say it's difficult because it is hard to pin what is his right position. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like he's in the right position. But where is the right position? And he very much may be a victim of just, he's a player in the wrong era potentially, right? Like if soccer was played a little bit differently, formations were a little bit different, maybe he would have this sort of perfect spot that he fills in the team because he has the talent, he has the skill, right, of what could be a top end player, but his game just doesn't seem to work in the positions that he's been put in. He's gotten lucky a few times, it feels like, but it's never seemed to really work out.
I think because of his height, people think he's a number 9. I think at best he's like a false 9.
Yeah.
But I would love to see him on the outside more and seeing if he can make those runs. Even a number 10 role, I think he could be pretty good at it. Any of those roles, I feel like he could do better than being a number 9. I see him as a number 9, and he doesn't have that like goal poaching instinct to me. He's never in the right position. He's never crashing at the right time. He's always missing headers. I just feel like he's not being utilized correctly, and I don't think he's a good fit for Real Madrid. So I hope he does not go there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Europa Conference League final. The only thing I know about Europa Conference League is it's the third division Champions League. That's how I look at it. I don't even know how many of these we've actually had. How long has this been a thing?
I'm looking it up right now. So it started in. This is the second season.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I knew it. We were talking last episode. I was like, I don't think it's the first season. I think there was one, but yeah, this is officially the second season of this third tier of European soccer.
So you told me to check this out. And it was a good game. I hadn't.
Yeah.
And the minute I clicked on the highlight video, my first thought was, okay, West Ham, Fiorentina, cool matchup. Are these teams gonna give a shit because it's the Europa Conference League final? Like, does it matter? And instantly watching the highlights, I was like, okay, they're playing real hard. They want to win this thing. It felt like a Champions League final.
They rolled out I think their best lineups. Like I watched the start of the game where they show the lineups, and I was like, I think that is West Ham's best lineup. I think that's Fiorentina's best lineup. So they went for it. It felt like a legitimate final, which was really awesome.
And that's all you really care about in watching a soccer match is the intensity at the highest it can be. Even if the teams aren't the best in the world, if the intensity is up there, those teams are good enough to make it a really exciting match. So I kind of wish I had watched this whole thing, but watching the highlights, it looked like a really entertaining back and forth, and a little bit of drama
Fans
in between.
Fans were super into it. Every time the camera cut to the stands, the fans were going wild. It was we talked about it last time with the Sevilla and Europa final, right? It felt like it could have been the World Cup final, right? Mm-hmm. The way the fans were behaving and acting, and it felt the same way here. I think there were only, like, compared to, like, these really crazy finals, like the Champions League final and these massive stadiums, I think the stadium they're in only holds like 15 or 20,000 people max. So it was like one of those more smaller traditional soccer stadiums where, like, the fans are like on top of the field, and they're like in the players' ears, more like a basketball game than like a football game. And it was really intense. You could just feel the atmosphere throughout the whole game.
So awesome. And to give away, if you hadn't watched it ended up 2-1 with a last minute goal by Jared Bowen of West Ham, winning it for West Ham, and 2-1. It was really awesome. All goals were in the second half, and West Ham got a penalty kick around the 60th minute, something like that. Fiorentina came right back and tied it up after that, and then in like the 80-something minute, Bowen got his go-ahead goal to.
Yeah, it was in the 90th minute. Yeah,
it was 90th. It was
in the 90th minute. Yeah. I was going to ask about this one because Fiorentina did something that I am always opposed to. So somewhere in the 80th minute range, like the 84th minute or something, like right before that all happened, they sub in a new central defender who hasn't been playing the whole game, right? Isn't, warmed up to speed, the speed of the game, and immediately is the guy that gets burned on a through ball to lose the game. And I was like, that is why you don't ever do that with your defenders. Like you don't, especially at that stage. Maybe a little bit earlier in the game so they get more of a run up to it, but in the critical moments, you can't have somebody that's just getting warmed up out there.
Yeah, unless there's an injury, you gotta leave him in there. Yeah, totally agree. It's so weird how that you just like can't get up to the same intensity and flow of the game when a game is that intense. You need some time, like you said. Really, really smart. Okay, the Belgium League final final day, I guess. I did not know. I saw the highlights of Andujarl winning it for his club all over social media, but I didn't know the circumstances. So explain to me what was going on leading into the last day of the Belgian league.
Yeah, so it's funny. So you were able to actually watch it. I didn't actually watch it at all, but I saw a breakdown post about what happened in the last day. So just like we talked about in the Premier League, all the final day games are being played simultaneously. And unlike in the Premier League, the championship title was not decided yet in the Belgian league. So there were actually 3 different teams that had an opportunity in the last game of the season to potentially win. So there was Antwerp, there was Genk, and then there was Union Saint Gilloy. So all 3 of those teams were within
Great
a point
names,
of each other,
all
I believe.
great names.
Yeah, great names. So coming into the day, I'm not actually sure where the standings started at the start of the day, but the Union Saint Gilloy scored in the 46th minute, which put them into first place. So Union was in first. Then in the 75th minute of the games, Genk took a lead against Antwerp. So Genk and Antwerp were actually playing each other. So 2 of those 3 teams were playing each other. And then the third one was playing they were playing Club Brugge, who were actually in 4th place, who is probably a more well-known team from that league. So Genk takes a 2-1 lead in the 75th minute, right? So there's only 15 minutes left in these games. In the 89th minute, Brugge scored against USG, and then in the 90th plus third, they scored the go-ahead goal to become the champions. So basically, in the 3rd minute of injury time, Genk should have won the title. In the 4th minute of injury time, that's when Alderweireld scored an equalizer for Antwerp to get them a point and to secure the title. So within the 89th and the 94th minute of the games, there were 2 different teams that were potentially title holders. And between basically within the second half of all those games, 3 different teams at one point were in first place in the league. So as exciting as it gets, we were talking about how we were hoping the Premier League was going to be like that this year, but it ended up not. But that shows you
the Belgian league. We should have known it was the Belgian league.
I know, we should have been watching it. It comes down to the end like that. It's really as exciting as it gets.
The Andujarl goal was pretty nice too. You got to check it out if you haven't seen it.
And it's their first league title since 1957.
Wow, that's awesome.
Those fans have been waiting.
That is awesome. Wow. God, that's like with the Padres. Shit.
That's so awesome.
Hopefully we can get one too. All right, let's go to actually let's do the 49ers thing. Tell me about this, because you told me that the ownership group of the San Francisco 49ers American football team is looking to take over Leeds United. Is this
I guess
for sure?
No, this isn't. So it's not finalized, but this is supposedly in the final stages of negotiation right now. But yeah, the holding company, I guess, for the 49ers, I don't know who the president or CEO of the group is, but obviously with the name 49ers Enterprises, you know, they're the group that's holding the 49ers football team, are looking to take over now relegated Leeds, who are obviously going to be entering some difficult times now, dropping down to the championship for in the range of $200 million, which was, I thought, a little less than I was expecting.
Dude,
yeah.
This is such a smart investment.
Mm-hmm.
They are buying low on a team with, as we saw, an incredible fan base.
Yep.
And I would say a pretty talented team. Now, if they can keep, they already lost McKinney, but he didn't help them out too much anyways. If they can keep some of their talented players with them, I see them back in the Premier League next year.
Oh, exactly. If they keep the core of the players they have together, they're easily going to be the best team in the championship and be right back up.
I don't know,
I think
the Champions League's pretty stacked this year, I will say.
The championship?
We should go over it maybe next week or something, or maybe before the season starts. but the championship's kind of nice this year.
Okay, all right. I'll take a look. The teams, just based off the teams I saw coming up, like Luton Town, I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure the quality that's coming out of the championship, but yeah, I
Well,
think like you're
remember
saying, I think
Leicester's going down.
Leicester's going down. I think it is a smart investment though. Um, it sounds like a very low number compared to the prices we've heard for some of these other teams in the past. So seems like a very, very good opportunity. And I'm not going to be shocked to see more of these groups like we just saw with Chelsea, more American money coming into the Premier League from these ownership groups of American teams, because it's a way to expand into a market that you're not part of, right? Where you don't have to worry about, getting into legal trouble with competition rules and stuff, and you can branch into an area that has really big TV deals, really big existing fan bases, growing national attention. It seems like one of the best places you could expand right now as a sports owner.
Yeah, it's an incredibly smart move. I love it. I love it. If I had $200 million, I would do it. Someday.
One day.
We're not quite there yet, but someday.
Okay,
right.
so the very last bit of news.
I have my drink ready. Hit me with it.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic officially retires from the world of football.
The Lion King himself.
Moment of silence.
I'm drinking. Cheers, Zlatan. You were the best. So in honor of Zlatan retiring, I prepared for you a list of Zlatan quotes. As we know, Zlatan is a very confident person. So much so that, and he has a great sense of humor, so he really lays into the the ego here. So I have a list of quotes from him over the years. I'm sure I missed a few, but there's so many good ones. Here we go. Quote, I can't help but laugh at how perfect I am. I came like a king, left like a legend. The older I get, the better I get. Like red wine. Got my red wine for you, baby. Lions don't compare themselves to humans. I didn't injure you on purpose, and you know that. If you accuse me again, I'll break both your legs, and that time it will be on purpose. He said, I can't help but laugh when I hear people compare me to God. I mean, God has a lot to learn from me. He said, I'm like Indiana Jones, you know? I go into the box and I find the treasure. I don't need the Ballon d'Or to know I'm the best. God, I love that one. The critics say I'm a bad player. But that's their opinion. I'm a phenomenon, and they have to live with that. Just love his confidence. I can play in all 11 positions because a good player can play anywhere. I don't believe, when he was at PSG, I don't believe they can change the Eiffel Tower for my statue, even the people behind the club. But if they can, I will stay here. I promise you. He said, when you buy me, you are buying a Ferrari. If you drive a Ferrari, you put premium petrol in the tank. You hit the motorway and you step on the gas. Pep Guardiola filled me up with diesel and took a spin in the countryside. He should have bought a Fiat.
I never heard that one. Oh,
so yeah,
man.
I knew that he and Pep didn't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
And I was looking up some of these quotes, and he was basically talking about the fact that he doesn't dislike Pep. He doesn't think Pep is a bad coach. He just thinks that their styles didn't work well together. But he has a lot of respect for him, so I'm glad it wasn't a hostile thing.
Yeah, no. I feel like he says a lot of those things with a smile on his face.
Oh, for sure.
It's so good.
And then I saw an interview when he joined the MLS. The interviewer was like,
"Oh yeah,
So do you think you're the best player? You think you're the best player in the MLS? What about Carlos Vela? He's got 19 goals so far this season. And he goes, how old is he? And he was like 29. He's like, 29? He's in his prime. He's like, when I was in my prime, I was winning Champions League in Italy.
Just talking shit.
It's so true, though. It's like, dude, you're Carlos. Get me out of here with this Carlos Vela. Like, whatever. And then one of my favorite stories. Oh, God, I got two more. One of my favorite stories is when he got to the LA Galaxy.
I was going to bring this one up.
LeBron James sent him a LeBron James jersey to like welcome him or whatever the fuck. He signs the jersey and mails it back to him. Like my fucking hero. That is the best, funniest thing I've ever heard. That is so good. That is so good. And then the last quote I have for you, it was his retirement. He said, "I think the greatest sadness will be yours, as you won't get to watch me play anymore. You should enjoy it now because you'll never see the likes of me again." And Zlatan, we will never see the likes of you again. You are one of a kind. Fucking love you. I wish you were 29 again so we could keep watching you play.
I know. Yeah, nobody will have that same amount of ego confidence. Yeah, so I had one story for you I wanted to make sure I brought up, and then I had a trivia question for you. So the trivia question was, do you know which team he scored the most goals with?
Ooh, that's a good question. Because he played on a ton of teams.
Yeah, well, I'll give you 4 teams to choose from, the most where he scored the most goals. So you have Ajax, you have Inter Milan, AC Milan, and PSG all as options.
And Barcelona, but that's not going to be up there. But there's just so many teams. Sorry. Well, I know he scored 50 at PSG one year, which is insane. So that helps the numbers. But I don't know how long he was there for. I don't think it was that long. It could be Ajax, honestly. Oof, this is a tough question. I'm going to go with PSG.
It is PSG.
Let's go.
I got this one wrong.
Let's go.
Yeah, I said AC Milan. So he scored 93 with AC Milan. He scored 156 with PSG in 4 seasons.
Say that again.
156 goals in 4 seasons.
That's insane. I don't care what league you're in. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I mean, yeah, that's approaching, like Ronaldo, Messi type production, at season over season. So absolutely crazy. So I just wanted to finish the Zlatan segment with my absolute favorite story from him. So once again, involved with his MLS days. So when he first made the move to LA Galaxy, he, along with the team, rented out an entire page ad in the newspaper, and the ad simply said, "Dear Los Angeles, you're welcome." Signed Zlatan. Literally an empty page, like no pictures, no other writing, literally just the typed out words, "Dear Los Angeles, you're welcome," period, and then his signature at the bottom of the blank page.
Oh, man. If I could just have a beer with Zlatan, it would be the highlight of my year. Oh, my God. That would be so much fun. It'd be so much fun.
Oh, it's the best.
You haven't watched Ted Lasso, have you?
I have not, no.
Okay. Well, there's a character on there that I don't know. I haven't heard the writers talk about it or anything, but
yeah,
they totally took it from Zlatan. They even called him Zava. He's got a Z name, and it is just Zlatan to a T with just a little bit more like of a fictional backstory, but they took inspiration from Zlatan. It's so good. What a legend.
I love it.
What a legend.
You will be missed, Zlatan.
You will. Okay. Well, that's a perfect time for a crack. Great segue into the last segment here. So we are going to do a player draft for the following season. Let me explain the rules here. You can pick any player from any league. we are doing a traditional 4-4-2. 4 defenders, 4 midfielders, 2 forwards, 2 attacking players, whatever. Now, this is not to build a team for the next 20 years. This is to build a team to win next season. Okay, so we're not taking youngsters who are going to develop into something great. So someone like a Jude Bellingham may or may not be on our teams. So this is next year only. And I'm going to give you the first pick. You can pick any position you want. And we'll just go from there. So if you value a certain position over another, we'll see how it goes.
Man, I'm actually gonna go against the positions I value the most, which is midfield, and I gotta take Haaland first.
No, I mean it's hard not to go with Haaland. I gotta be honest.
It's so hard not to know he's on the board and you don't take him. So young and already so good.
Okay, so
absolutely prolific.
With Haaland off the board, I gotta go. You know who I'm taking? It's Kevin De Bruyne. I think he is the best player in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the best team player in the world. Haaland is the best striker, but Kevin De Bruyne makes everybody better. He creates goals out of nothing, and he is the driving force for that Man City team. So I'm starting my team with him.
Okay, I'm taking Mbappe.
No, that's the clear number. I mean, he could have been number 1, to be honest with you. I thought he might slip to me, but yeah, that's the right pick. Okay, so you're now. Is Mbappe going to be in your midfield, or is he going to be up top with Haaland? How are you going to do that?
So we're playing a 4-4-2. No, I mean he's going to be that. That's a good point.
Because you can put him anywhere. You can maybe decide later depending on who gets picked.
Yeah, I mean he's either going to play that left striker or he's going to play left mid, one of the two. So yeah, right now to be determined, I would say.
Okay. All right. I should have really ranked these out because I didn't. I put them
now it gets hard.
So I think we're going to get some slip ups here, especially after an hour of this already, and a few drinks in. But I still think this guy for one more season is going to be top, and that is Mo Salah. I think a Kevin De Bruyne Mo Salah combination, lethal.
Like it. Okay, so for me next, so I'm torn between two guys.
Who are you thinking about? Talk me through it. Unless you don't want to give away.
I don't want to give it away. I'm going to go Bellingham.
Oh, you are going with the youngster. Let's go. I like it.
Yeah, I think he's good enough now. Next season, I think he's good enough. Even though I just went through a whole spiel about how he'll have a year to develop, I feel like even if he didn't have the year to develop, I feel like he's good enough now to be in this conversation.
I think he absolutely is. I like the pick. I definitely like the pick. Okay, I'm actually going to go... This might surprise you. I don't know. But I'm going to go with Vinicius Jr.
Oh, I didn't see him.
Speaking of a youngster, and I'm actually going to put him... I'm going to take him as my forward. I'm going to put him up top.
Okay.
But he is, 22, I believe?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But, man, he's played in some big matches. He scored some big goals, and he's just so hard to deal with. I think he is a top 5 player in the world, no doubt. So, put him on my attack.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna continue the trend of fleshing out my center of midfield, and I'm gonna go with Odegaard alongside Bellingham in the middle.
Oh, okay. Great season from him.
Yeah.
You got 2 Norwegians on your team. You're looking good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Look at that connection right there.
Man, I hope they make the World Cup. I
know.
I hope they do.
Well, I mean, they're going to be expanding it, right? So
You have a chance,
but much more of an opportunity for them to make it.
So how many teams are going to be able to? How many additional teams are going to be coming from Europe? Do you know?
I don't know the number from Europe, but it's going to be 16 more teams total. So I would expect at least 3 or 4 teams from Europe to be in that group.
So you think
I
Italy's
feel like
going to
that's
make the World
probably
Cup
right
this year,
around where they
or this next year?
what
You think Italy's going to make
what's
the
that?
World Cup this time?
Oh my God.
Oh man, what a shot! Sorry, I'm sorry.
They got the Euros.
They did. Oh man, at least you always have the Euros. Okay. So currently on my squad, I got Vinicius Jr. up top. I got Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah. Now I'm looking at midfield just because I am, but I don't know if it's the right move. I don't have any defenders yet. But you know what? I think I'm going to make sure I get this guy before you do because Harry Kane, I think, is world class. And if you got Haaland and Kane, I think I would be done for. So I got to grab him.
I like it. Yeah, he was one of a couple options I was looking at for next pick. Yeah, he's somehow it feels like he's underrated, even though he's in the news so much and worth so much money. I just don't feel like he's talked about in the way that's representative of how good he is. Like he's unreal.
I think that's the Tottenham effect.
Yeah,
I think that's
straight
what
up is.
And if he was playing on Man United this whole time, he would be one of the greats.
He's so good.
I always think it's interesting too. Sorry, sidebar here. I always think
Yeah.
it's interesting. We're two Americans who watch English soccer. The English fan base, commentators, they always have certain guys that they kind of like more than they should. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
to your point about Harry Kane, like he's fantastic, but he doesn't get the love that I feel like he deserves and that he's
Yeah.
qualified for. But they'll have guys like Phil Foden that they just go crazy over. They had Mason Mount the first year at Chelsea. They were just gushing over him at any chance they got. There's all these guys that they like go crazy over, thinking they're going to be the next big thing, and they just, I think it was just Harry Kane was such a sure thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They just expected out of him. I call England's national team. They're all B players, except Harry Kane. They have so many
Exactly.
B level players, but Harry Kane is an A fucking plus.
Well, I think you explained it perfectly. It's a Tottenham effect. Like I think that's why, because so many of those media players, media guys, the anchors, the commentators, played for the teams like Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal.
It's a
How many
great
of them
point.
played for Tottenham? And so there's always, no matter how hard they try, there's always these sort of underlying biases with a lot of these guys. And I think exactly how you explained it before with the Tottenham effect, I think it holds just as true when it comes to sort of the media profile, that how much he gets talked about and sort of the way he gets talked about. And it really goes to hurt his sort of public image to a degree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm up for next pick.
Are you looking at a particular position? You have 3 midfields right now.
I
And
do.
Haaland up top.
I'm trying to figure out a team that would really work, if you know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Rather than just like an all-star team. But with a 4-4-2, you know what? I could put him out on the wing, I think. One of the positions I value absolutely the most is the defensive midfield position, the holding midfield that can just dominate possession, win the ball back. And I think there's really 2 guys there that we would discuss in being the right
Oh
pick
man,
there.
I think you're gonna take the guy I want. I'm really nervous.
I think I'm going to take the other guy, and not the guy that you want. I'm going to go with Rodri.
Oh, okay. Who do you think I want?
Casemiro.
No, damn. We talk about soccer a lot together.
I know you love Casemiro.
I do.
I think Casemiro offers more going forward than Rodri, but I think Rodri is just as solid as it gets in that position.
Hey, I would
So
I do not think it's a bad pick
yeah,
whatsoever. I think it's a great pick. Uh, and yes, Casemiro is the guy I wanted.
yep.
So I'll just take him now. I'll just take him now for the sake of let's just take him and move on. I feel like he fits my team really well. We
Yep.
got KDB and Mo Salah on the outside. Casemiro in the like that defensive midfield role, just holding it down. Love it, love it.
Yep.
And then you got
Yeah.
Rodri.
So with doing that, I would probably push Bellingham out to like a right mid. I'm thinking that was the part that was making me hesitate is where would he go now? but I think he could fit in, wherever, kind of like Kevin De Bruyne, right? You could kind of put him wherever, and
Yeah.
they're gonna be game changers.
Okay, so your midfield's pretty locked up. You have Rodri, Odegaard, Kylian Mbappe, and Bellingham on opposite sides of each other. That's pretty lethal right there.
Yeah,
Haaland up
very
top.
lethal.
Okay, you gonna go with another forward, or are you gonna take a defender? What are you gonna do?
Um, I am gonna go with a forward. You still there?
I'm
Sorry, everything
interested to
froze.
see. Oh, did I freeze?
Everything froze for me, but no, we're back.
That's a technical difficulty. Let's go.
Yeah,
Now,
let's drink
I'm
to that.
curious. I'm curious what forward you're looking at. I'm trying to think who you're gonna take.
I'm gonna go with somebody that I just realized is not on the list.
Nice. I like it.
Give me Rafael Leao up top with Erling Haaland.
Ooh, how could I miss that one? Damn, I like that. Shoot. Off the board. I love it.
I was wondering. I was like looking. I was like, "Where is he?" Let's
Yeah,
see.
I didn't get him. I didn't get him. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's
did
tough to
just
do this
throw a
last
bunch of.
minute. Yeah,
In every
it's
league,
so
you're
easy
going to
to
miss a player or two for
names.
sure. Well, damn, I like that pick. Fuck. We kind of have a similar setup where you have Haaland, I have Kane, and then you have Leao,
Well, now
and I have Vinicius.
with Leao, I have the flexibility. I could put Mbappe there and drop Leao, right? Like they're kind
Mm-hmm.
of interchangeable to a degree on the left side there. So
God, I'm so
I think
jealous of that pick.
that'd be
Damn.
pretty deadly. But Vinicius is the same type of player. Like Vinicius of those, obviously Mbappe's in his own world, but I feel like Vinicius and Leao are very similar in what they would bring to a team. So I feel like you kind of have that player already in that pick that you did.
For sure. For sure. Um, okay. I need a defender. I am much higher on this player than I think the rest of the world is. But I believe in him, and I'm going to take him. And that is Reece James.
Yeah.
I think he is criminally underrated. He is injured a lot. I think maybe that's part of it.
Yep.
But I think he's a phenomenal player. He's incredibly dangerous going forward. And I also think he's willing to defend, which is half of the issue with defenders.
Mm-hmm.
And he's super strong on the ball. I think he's fantastic. So I'm assuming health here, but I think he's a great addition to my team. Taking him.
Yeah, I like it. Definitely. Obviously, we were kind of holding off from defenders, but I think it would be in the conversation for my first defender off the board as well. With you taking Reece James, though, kind of made the decision for me. I'm going to go with Ruben Diaz as my first defender off the board.
Yeah, he was my other one I was thinking about for sure.
Absolutely just a solid rock at defense. Probably, would be the defensive captain of the team. Great at organizing people, athletic enough to stay with some of the best players in the world, even if he doesn't sort of show it in his stature. But he plays so smart. He's so consistent. I don't know how you would choose another one of these center backs over him. I think that's an argument that he could always win.
He's certainly the center back of choice, and I put a little draft board up here. I don't have enough center backs on here to be fair.
Yeah.
But he's certainly number one on the list for sure. I'm going to take my first center back with my next pick. And this guy had a really good season. I think he was on the La Liga team of the year. I've always been a fan of his. He's been a little crazy, but I feel like He's a strong central back. I like the way he plays, so I'm going to take Militao from Real
Good pick.
Madrid.
He's a beast. He's not scared of anybody,
No. And
which is what you need
he's
at those
athletic enough
levels.
to compete with anyone as well.
Yep. Yep. Really good pick there. Okay. So next up for me, still working with defense here. I'm gonna go with. Now it's getting a little tough.
Yeah, you also got to think off the board too, because there's a lot of guys I didn't put on there.
Yeah. That guy scares me on defense, but he's great going forward.
Talk to me. Who?
Alphonso Davies. Saliba's still so young. He has, like, if you're talking about future potential, Saliba I think would definitely be in the conversation for top pick off the board here. I'm just gonna go with the one that I know I want, and that's Kyle Walker at right back.
Oh, wow. I'm shocked you took him. 2 Man City defenders. Wow.
So there's other players on this list, such as the guy right above him, João Cancelo, who are unbelievably skilled and talented. But we talked about this a few episodes ago. What Kyle Walker can do defensively, I don't think can be matched by anybody else at right back in the world. So if I'm picking a team that I want that to win, a team that'll actually work, I want a real defender in that position with all the firepower I have up front. I think he's the best guy to fill in the gap there. I don't want somebody else that's going to be bombing forward on top of all the other players I already have. So give me Kyle.
He's been such a tremendous defender against speed that I've really been just blown away by him, the way he handled Mbappe in the World Cup, Vinicius.
And, he had to go against Vinicius. Yeah.
Dude, and he can handle it. Like, he's so fast. And I think early in his career, he wasn't as good of a defender, but man,
he's just so much smarter now with his positioning and his body, body control.
Fantastic, dude. Great pick. I think he's a top defender. And again, another English outside back. They have so many of them.
Too many right backs.
Okay, so I'm looking at my team right now. I got Harry Kane and Vinicius Jr. up top. My midfield is Kevin De Bruyne and Casemiro with Mo Salah on the outside. I'm missing another outside midfielder. So I think, God, I love this guy. He is young, but I kind of need a little youth in my midfield, a little danger going forward, and I'm taking Jamal Musiala. Let's go!
Nice.
You knew.
Yeah, he's scary. He came through. He came through the thought waves as I was going through this, but knowing who I had, I didn't really think how he would fit in best, so that's why I skipped over him. But absolute unreal talent. Still so young, still so much potential. When we're talking about making a team like this, right? We're talking about just for next year, not the future youth. But he's at a stage of his career now, still so young, but having played for a little bit now, that this could be the year that he makes that leap, right? Like, he is set up now, whether it's this year or maybe next year or the year after. One of the next 3 years is going to be the year that all of a sudden he's one of the top 10 players in the world, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where he's talked about much more often. He has the talent, the skill. He just needs to gain the experience, and it very well could be this year that he becomes the talk of the entire soccer world.
Totally. He's been playing at Bayern Munich. He showed out in the World Cup, even though he didn't really have the stats for it, and Germany had a disappointing finish. He was phenomenal. Yep. He's probably maybe 2 to 3 years away from his peak. However, I still think he is a potential to be top 10 player, as you said, for next season. So I think he's a good addition to my team with kind of a older midfield. I need a little bit of youth. I need a little bit of electricity. So I think he fits in.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm still on my defense here. 2 more spots to fill. I need a center back and a left back. And this is a struggle. I think a player I would add because of his flexibility. I don't think he's necessarily the most athletic, but he can literally play like probably 4 different positions and take free kicks. Since you took KDB from me, I don't have my number one free kick taker in the world. I'm going to go with Trippier at left back.
Okay. We are going all English backs. Let's go. Wow. That's crazy. Okay, so you got Trippier on one side, Kyle Walker on the other, and then Diaz in the middle. It's a solid defense right there.
Actual defense, not just offensive defense, right?
Totally.
I think you have to take him, man. Put him on the left.
So,
Or do you feel the same way I did?
I actually kind of want to put Alaba on the left.
Okay.
He used to play there. I've seen him play for his home country in like a more advanced role of that outside position. I think he would do really well there. And I have an idea of who I want in my center back position, so I think I'm going to move Alaba out there and put him there. So yeah, I'm going to take David Alaba.
Okay. All right. So I need a center back. I don't really like these guys. I'm trying to think of ones that aren't on the list right now.
I put your boy Botman on there.
I do, but I think there's better options out there in the world. Man, this is tough.
As you're thinking, I just want to go through some potential options for you.
Yeah.
So you got Botman. I put on Delight is out there. Koundé of Barcelona, a little younger. Luke Shaw has played some center back. I don't know if that's kind of the route you want to go. Saliba, Rudiger has played some center back. I love Rudiger. Varane, a little older, but you only need him for one season.
He'll get hurt. Let's be real.
Fair. That's fair.
A name that's on the list. I'm not sure if I'm going to choose him yet, but go ahead and add it. Is Akanji on Man City as well. Yeah. I think he's an athletic specimen. Maybe not the best skill, but unbelievably talented athletically. I feel like he can stay with anybody. I already have two Man City defenders, though.
Please do it.
I feel like I can't.
Please do it.
I can't do it. But I really can't. It comes down to me. I also really love Rudiger as well. I think Akanji's probably a more value, on the market. Akanji's going to go for more money. I think he's probably the better player. The tenacity and edge that Rudiger brings, I think, can be pretty much unmatched from anybody else in the world. So I want Rudiger there next to DS.
Damn it, that's what I wanted. Damn, I actually wanted that pick. I didn't think you were going to go for him.
I had to go against the grain a little bit. It was too easy to just go Man City. So
that's the guy I wanted. He's that type of attitude that you said that I love.
Yeah.
And a defender. God damn it. That really throws me off my game here. Okay. Well, so your defense is set, your midfield is set, your forwards are set.
I'm not.
So
all I need is a goalie now.
You're not going to get another defender, so I'm going to take the first goalie pick with this. Now, I would take Courtois. However, I have Kevin De Bruyne on my team. And Thibaut Courtois took his girlfriend from him. And that's not going to go well. I did not know this. You didn't hear about this? Oh, my God.
When was this?
Serious? Years ago. So Kevin De Bruyne had a girlfriend for like multiple years, whatever. And she cheated on him with Thibaut Courtois. Yes, this was an issue. They're both Belgium internationals, and they I can't remember the match they played after that, but he scored a goal on Courtois, and he celebrated like he won the fucking World Cup. And it just meant so much to him to just
Yeah.
fuck that guy. Like there's some
Damn, on the same national team.
Yes, on the same national
Shit.
team. So I can't have that on my team. Courtois
Yeah, no.
is a scratch. Also, come on, dude. You don't have to be best friends with the guy, but he's on your fucking team. You know he's dating this chick, and you're just like, come on.
He's like the captain of your team.
That is some John Terry shit right there. And I will not have any of that on my team. So, although I think Courtois is good, he's not my goalie. I'm going to take Allison.
Okay. Based on the story you just gave me, you've just changed my opinion completely. I
can't believe you didn't hear about this. This was like 3
I never
years
knew
ago.
this story. I never heard this story. We literally just saw it though with Courtois. Unreal. He probably is the best goalie in the world.
I think he is.
Technically,
yeah.
like it's insane the saves that he can pull off.
He's fucking huge.
However, I do need some Italian representation on this team. And I'm going to go with my boy Donnarumma.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
From PSG.
I was thinking about that. Didn't have any Italians on this.
On this list, yeah.
I mean, if we would have done this 10 years ago.
I mean, I think he's worthy. What's that?
If we would have done this 10 years ago, we would have been full of Italians.
God. Different story, yeah.
Italy needs to get back in it, man. They really do.
They literally just won the Euros, though. I mean, that's where it's like...
You missed the last 2 World Cups.
I know. That's bad.
It hurts. That hurts.
It's bad. But yeah, I think Donnarumma is worthy. You would probably rank somebody like Ederson or Courtois ahead of him, Allison maybe even. I think he's on the same level of like Ter Stegen and Pope and those guys. So I think obviously a goalie, the lines are a lot more difficult to see between the levels of the players, I think.
Totally.
Especially for us non-goalies. Like, to me, there's the good goalies and then there's like crap goalies. And when you look at the good goalies, I really struggle to kind of differentiate 1 through 10.
No doubt.
The exception probably being Courtois, just from what we've seen. But give me Donnarumma.
You got it. Yeah, dude, I can't believe you didn't know about it. I'm glad I could tell you about that. Yeah, Courtois, world-class piece of shit, that guy. Okay, so last pick of the draft, I need a center back. This is for 1 season. I currently have Militao, Reece James, and Alaba as my back line.
Yeah.
Now, this guy is 72 years old, but he's smart and he's savvy, and I just need him to direct the rest of my defense. Keep him in the right position. So I'm taking Thiago Silva.
Hell yeah.
To round out my defenders. Okay, so teams are set. I'll read mine off, and then you can read yours. I got Harry Kane up top with Vinicius Jr. In the midfield, I have Musiala and Mo Salah on opposite sides with Kevin De Bruyne and Casemiro in the middle. My central defenders are Militao and Thiago Silva with the outside backs of Alaba and Reece James with Allison in goal. Feeling good about my squad. Feeling good.
Pretty good sounding team, man. hard to argue with that team there. Okay, so my team up front, starting at forward, I have both Erling Haaland and Rafael Leao.
That Leao pick still
in
hurts
the
me.
attack.
Man, great pick. Great pick.
In the midfield, I have on the outside, I'm shifting Bellingham out to the right, and then I have Kylian Mbappe out left, and then in the middle, I have Odegaard and Rodri holding down the middle of the field. At my defense, I have Kyle Walker on the right and Kieran Trippier on the left, and then the solid combo of Rudiger and Diaz in the middle, punching people in the face. And then in goal, I have Donnarumma to round out the squad.
I like both the squads, to be honest with you.
I do.
These are the best players in the world, so it makes sense. But
So let's do this. Let's go through row by row. So we have the forwards group, the midfield group, the defender group, and the goalkeeper group. So I'm curious to we'll have a little debate here. So we'll go through each of those groups and who we think has the better combo of players within each of those categories. So
Okay.
let's start off. Let's start off at the back. We'll work our way forward. So at goalkeeper, you have Allison. I have Donnarumma. I think you have the better on paper goalie.
Yeah.
Better history of success at the highest level.
But as you said, like you're splitting hairs with goalkeepers. It's so hard
Mm-hmm.
to kind of distinguish a difference between the top level goalkeepers, especially when we're not goalkeepers. I'm sure other goalkeepers could have a better eye for it, but it's difficult to look at the best goalkeepers in the world and be like, oh, he's significantly better than that one, you know? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I think they're both good picks. It's hard to say who
Okay.
gives an edge, but you're
Yeah.
right.
Well,
On
we'll call that
paper,
one a draw.
yeah, yeah. Defense. What do you think?
Um, I like. Oof. Damn, this one feels like a draw to me. I like my center backs better. I think I like your outside backs better.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I wish I had your center backs, but I like my outside backs.
Yeah. Ooh, that's tough. I would, being that's the case, I would lean towards my squad because I feel like the center of the defense is more important for a successful team working your way out towards the wings. So myself, I would start there and make that the focus. So if I had to choose one, I would probably choose my squad.
Yeah, I would choose mine because I have faith in Militao and Thiago Silva. I think he gets it done. He's just always in the right position. He's such a smart defender.
I just feel like he's on the. I feel like we finally started to see it near the end of the season where he was a little bit
I
out
like
of
to
legs.
I like to think he was also kind of like, dude, what the fuck is happening with this team, man?
Yeah.
Like,
This
this
is
is ridiculous. Like, what am I doing here? You know, like I think if you put him in a situation with a big match on the line, he could still hang.
yeah.
I think he could. 90% of defending is positioning, so he doesn't need to be the fastest guy because he's the smartest. That's part of the reason why I took him, and I want him to guide my other defenders. But yeah, I'll give you the edge on the defending, but
Oh right.
I think
So
I
tie.
have the edge. No, we'll give you defenders. I'll give you
Okay.
defenders, but I think I
Yeah.
have
So let's move to
midfield.
midfield.
I think I have midfield, but tell me I'm wrong. My
I
midfield is Musiala, Mo Salah on the outside, and Kevin De Bruyne and Casemiro in the middle. Now I know I like Casemiro more than you, so maybe you don't agree. But I think my central midfielders of Kevin De Bruyne and Casemiro are better than Odegaard and Rodri.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it like this. So I give your team the edge, but this is my thinking. I think Rodri and Casemiro are a wash, more or less.
Fair,
I think Musiala and Bellingham are probably a wash, more or less.
fair. I like that. Yeah,
I even think, and to some degrees, Mbappe and Salah could potentially be a wash. What Salah is able to do, even though Mbappe is a much more exciting player and probably creates more, Salah just finds a way to get it done. So then what you're left with is a Kevin De Bruyne versus Odegaard comparison. And Kevin De Bruyne was easily worth 2 first round picks in this group of players, right? He it was I mean that's what it came down to. He was going to be the first pick or it was going to be Haaland for me, right? So that the Kevin De Bruyne factor alone is what determines this group. Whoever has him is just going to be one step above.
I couldn't agree with you more. Everything that you said is dead on. Everything else is a wash. All those guys are kind of even, but Kevin De Bruyne is above
Yep.
Odegaard. Odegaard is fantastic, but he's Kevin De Bruyne light. He's the diet Kevin De Bruyne. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I agree. I think I'd take that one. This one, I
All
thought it
right.
was really interesting for the forwards because we took like the same model
Yeah.
of styles of players.
Yeah.
You, Erling Haaland, me, Harry Kane, you, Rafael Leao, me, Vinicius Jr. It's amazing how similar those two together are.
They really are. Yeah.
And I think this is a wash because I think Vinicius
I,
Jr. is a little bit better than Leao, and
yep.
I think Erling Haaland is a little bit better than Harry Kane.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. I think it ends up being a tie for the same exact reason. I think Vinny is that little bit more polished than Liao. Athletically, they might be the same. Liao might have the potential for something completely extravagantly outrageous, more so than Vinicius, but Vinicius is more consistent and more polished and more in control of his game. So I definitely would say he's that one half notch above Liao. And I feel the same way with Haaland and Kane. I think Kane's on the winding down side. I think we're going to start to see it next year, a little bit more. He's still so good, but you compare him to the likes of Haaland, and you got to give the edge to Haaland. He's just he creates. Kane creates more from a tactical soccer sense. He's a striker that can also create chances for people. What Haaland does is just cause the ultimate disruption of what the other team's defense is trying to do. So he inadvertently creates more chances for everybody else than Kane could ever do. Not that he's actually being a playmaker, right, and like feeding the ball to somebody, but just his presence and his athleticism and his fear just destroys opponent defenses. And so I feel like you'd have to choose Haaland over Kane.
You have to. He can run over people. It's crazy. He's like Harry Kane's a big dude, but Haaland's like 6'5".
He's just
and he's fast.
I want to know what his 40 time is.
Yeah,
I want to see his 40
see
and his 100-yard dash. Yeah, or 100-meter.
I bet you he could compete with anybody in the NFL, anybody in the world. Like, think about it, 6'5". So
yeah,
in the NFL, there's really nobody that tall other than like a tight end or
he would be a tight end or a wide receiver or a massive wide receiver.
But like even the receivers aren't that big because you can't find a guy that size that has the strength and speed to compete in the NFL. But I bet Haaland could.
Yep,
he totally could. He's a fucking specimen. Okay, so I think overall we have two very balanced teams. It would be awesome to see them play against each other. I wish I got Mbappe. I think if I got Mbappe, I would have won. But you got him, and I think the teams are pretty balanced. So
I think,
we should. It'd be really. I was gonna say we should look at this at the end of next season and see if we still agree with this.
Yeah, see, give a pass or fail to each of our selections. Go through the squads. That would be really cool to see.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, and then shout out to the 20 plus players that we probably totally forgot about, didn't even think about, that should have been in this conversation we just didn't even think to put down on paper. So
I really wanted
this was our best effort
on my team, but
he's
not quite there yet. He's not quite there yet. I think he could be.
He's probably similar to Musiala, one of those guys that one of the next 3 years will be his step up, right?
Yeah.
Musiala is probably closer to that, but it could be next year, could be 3 years from now.
Yeah, it took one of those guys, couldn't take two. So, yeah. All right, well, that's everything we have for the day, unless it looks like maybe you have some trivia, or did you use it earlier?
No, I have a couple things for you. I just wanted to share. So I had one trivia question for you, a couple would you rathers. So my trivia question for you, as we segue into this, is looking back at the Premier League season. We've talked a lot about who the top scorers were on teams, but a stat or a sort of a presentation of the stats I hadn't really looked at before and I thought was really interesting was who are actually the players that scored the largest percentage of goals for their team, right? So not just the top goal scorers in the league, but who contributed more to their team's total goal tallies as a ratio, right? So, you have
Are you factoring assists
crazy output
or
from
just
someone like
goals?
Haaland. What's up?
Are you factoring in assists or just goals?
Just goals. This
Okay.
is just goals. So just goal scorers, yes. But I was curious if you could give me your thought on who you think would be number one on this list for largest contribution of goals as a ratio towards their team's total scores.
My first guess would be Harry Kane.
And you are correct.
My second guess would be Haaland because it was still an insane amount.
You are correct, number two.
And then my third guess would probably be Ivan Toney because he scored a ton of goals.
Holy shit. He is number three.
Let's go.
Can you keep going?
Let's see if I can
is
keep
crazy.
going. Okay, number four. I'd probably have to
Now
say...
it gets harder. 4 and 5 are unbelievably
Marcus
tight.
Rashford?
4 and 5 are basically tied. Rashford's 0.1% behind fourth and fifth.
God, I was so close. Okay.
Yeah.
Who would be the other one then?
That's a player you like.
I like a lot of guys. Let me think here. I'm thinking through the teams in the top.
Yeah, definitely a team in the top half.
Is it Mo Salah?
No.
Damn it. I was doing
It's not in
so
the top
well.
10.
I was doing so well. Okay, well, I already said Man United, Man City. I don't think Newcastle, they had one guy that really shined. Brighton.
They did. It was Callum Wilson, but he was in seventh.
No way. Oh, okay. Okay. I was trying to think. Okay, so but the number 4 guy couldn't have been him.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm totally blanking.
This is a team that qualified for European soccer.
No. Really? It's not Mo Salah? Okay, I guess whatever. Dude, I don't know. Matoma?
Ollie Watkins for Aston Villa.
Oh my god. I didn't know I liked him. I do like him, but I didn't know I liked him.
You do. I remember you talking about him on your fantasy too.
I did have him on my fantasy. I had him way early and then I dumped him and then he had a great fucking year.
Okay, yeah. So that was my only direct trivia. I have a couple would you rather's. We'll do at the end, but I had a couple tidbits for you. I had a little funny story I heard about Mycone from back in the Inter Milan days. I wanted to share, and then a quote from Diego Simeone. So yeah, I saw this little quote. It was from when Jose Mourinho was his coach. This is Jose Mourinho speaking. I remember a game in Siena with Mycone. They said he would always get a 5th yellow to be suspended at Christmas so that he could go on vacation to Brazil. Never knew this before, but great story. I love this guy. I went to him and said that if he got a yellow, he wouldn't be going on vacation. I'm not an idiot. He asked if he scored, could he go? I said, no, only if you score 2. In the game, he scored 2 goals and then received a yellow card for taking his shirt off and went on vacation. I ended up giving him an extra week off after that game.
What a boss. Oh my god. That is so awesome. Dude, that Inter team, man. That team was so fucking sick.
Oh, so good.
What a fucking story. That is amazing.
So awesome. Okay, and then this was a quote that came out, I think it was last week. So Diego Simeone, one of our least liked coaches, just generally obnoxious and difficult to watch on the sideline.
I'll say
so
it.
he was
Douchebag. Go ahead.
douchebag. So it's somewhere, I don't know if he was like in a press conference or just talking to reporters on the side, I don't know, but somehow he made a joke, and he said players who have sex less than 4 times a month can't play in my team. And the top comment on the report I saw said, "This explains the Felix situation."
Oh man. Oh man, that's so good. That's so good.
Oh man. But I wouldn't expect anybody else, any other coach in the world, to have that quote besides him.
What a dumb fucking thing to say. Like, how do you know? Like, what does that even mean? Uh, oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Oh man.
And
Okay, so a couple would you rathers for you.
okay,
All right. So with the recent moving of Karim Benzema to his retirement phase of career, I saw a question posted that I thought was a very, very interesting one, and it was a in their prime, who's the best question.
I like these.
And there's three options here. First being Benzema, second being Robert Lewandowski, and third being Luis Suarez.
Oof. I hate Luis
Of those,
Suarez, but he was so good in his prime.
yeah.
He was a problem. So I'll do what I think, and then I'll do what I think the results ended up being.
Okay.
So prime. Oh man. I think prime Lewandowski was the best. Prime Luis Suarez was second, and I think prime Benzema was third. I think the results of this will be. Ooh, actually, I don't know. But I think Suarez is going to be third. I actually think Benzema, given the recency bias, will be first and Lewandowski second.
Interesting. Okay, so my thoughts on this. I went with Benzema. I think in his prime, he was just he just brought something else to the game, a confidence, which Suarez, I feel like, and Lewandowski both also are very confident, but they almost look like they were like abnormally confident, where I feel like Benzema was just the most naturally confident person without having to like put on confidence or like put on outward confidence that I've probably ever seen as a player. Maybe Zidane.
He didn't need the flash.
He didn't. Maybe Zidane's the only one that's like did that ever any better than Benzema. But I feel like that's just like the aura that he brings. So just the confidence that you had in him performing was just at the highest level. So that's why I went with Benzema. I thought Suarez would be second and Lewandowski third. I feel like Lewandowski was really good, but because he went to Bayern and it's a big team in Germany, but he never went to the Premier League or Spain, where the really biggest teams are. Yeah, I mean, but after his prime, right? Not when he was like at his absolute best, like the other two guys were, and they were playing in the best leagues when they were at their best. So that's why I give him a notch down. Surprisingly, the results are 68% for Suarez, commanding lead. 19% for Lewandowski, 13% for Benzema.
Wow.
A 50% win for Suarez and 18,000 votes.
The fuck? Was this a South American vote? What the fuck?
I don't know, man. It's crazy. It must be the Barcelona vote or the Liverpool vote.
He was insane at his peak seasons. And I never liked him, but man, he was a problem to deal with. He was so good. All these guys were. But yeah, I feel like when Lewandowski was at his peak, though, he had this run at Bayern where he just scored everything. Absolutely everything. And even this year, he's what? Like fucking our age? And he scored a shit ton at Barcelona this year. He had an outstanding season. It kind of gets lost in it. But he's a step above. I think he's phenomenal, and that's why I went with him. But I mean, they're all pretty good. I feel like Benzema.
They're all
I
really
was
good.
lower on Benzema because I feel like he never really had like a high peak. I just feel like his floor was incredibly high. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He
that's
was
good. Yeah,
so that's kind of how I looked at it.
yeah. It was interesting. I thought it was a really good selection of players to put kind of up against each other. So that was fun. Okay, my second and last question for you. Another your choice of player over another player. The question is who has the highest potential? So we
Ooh.
talked a little bit about this in our teams that we just selected, but four players to choose from here. All four of these players were on the list that we went through when we drafted. The first player is Jude Bellingham. The second player is Jamal Musiala. The third player is Bukayo Saka. And the fourth player is Pedri. All of these players are very young. Some of them are in more sort of prominent, either in more prominent clubs, right, or more prominent starting roles. They're all on big clubs in the scheme of things, right? Some maybe at a more elevated level for their national teams than others. But what is your take on your order of those four players?
List them out one more time. I'm forgetting the last one.
So you have Bellingham, Musiala, Saka, and Pedri.
So I think for me it would go Musiala, Bellingham, Saka, Pedri. How I think the vote's gonna go is Bellingham, Saka, Musiala, Pedri.
Okay.
How did
So
I do?
I also went with Musiala as number one. I think he's got the most crazy potential. I think you have to go Bellingham number two. I actually went Pedri three and Saka fourth. I feel like Saka, if we're talking about potential, I think Saka could be a better player, but I feel like he's already gotten to a lot of his potential. Like I don't know how much
Yeah.
more potential he has left in him, if you know what I'm saying. Where Pedri is younger and could still develop into
See, I
something.
was looking up how old Pedri is. He's only a year younger than Saka.
Really, I thought he was like two or three. Okay,
He's 20. Saka's only 21.
that's very young.
I mean, he's been around. I feel like he's been around forever.
Yeah,
And he's only 21.
he was taking a World Cup final penalty kick at 19 years old.
The fifth penalty
That's pretty
kick.
wild. What?
The last penalty kick.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he deserves his
Because
props.
Sterling's a bitch.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm not sorry.
Sorry, Sterling.
I'm not sorry.
All right, so the vote came out with Bellingham with a commanding lead, maybe recency bias, not sure, at 48%. Musiala in second at 23%. Pedri in third at 17. Saka in last at 11%. So close to what I picked
Yeah.
with Bellingham and Musiala swapped, I would say.
Makes sense.
I I would very happily disagree with this though, and I think Musiala has the most potential out of this group. What he's shown and what he just naturally has is just it feels like it's at a different level and tier than these other three guys.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he was my pick for sure.
All right. Well, that's all I got. You got anything else?
That's all I got too. I think
Okay.
that's it. That was good. We just kept it under 2 hours, so no big deal. It's
Damn.
just a quality 1 hour and 50 minutes. If anyone has made it this far, I urge you to contact us in some way so that we can
Yes.
thank you because I
Yes.
think we could be good friends and probably have a drink
Yes.
sometime.
Yeah, leave a comment on the video if you have a question you want us to talk about and debate, or you question one of our choices, one of our takes.
Yeah, because to be
Just
honest, we have full time jobs. We just do this for fun to talk to each other because we don't know anybody else in our circle of friends that really cares about soccer the way we do. Blake's probably the closest, but he's got too much going on. That guy, he doesn't have time.
yeah,
He doesn't have time.
yeah,
So yeah, leave a comment, like us if you want.
yeah.
We don't really care, but I will say, coming up, what I want to do is a starting 11, Torrin. We need to make it
Yes.
happen. I feel like we've done some in the past that we need to redo. We need to revisit.
Agreed. Definitely agreed.
We've
We
done our
did. So we did
favorite.
our favorite. We did our favorite, our least favorite.
I think the all lefty team would be a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
I'd love me a good lefty. And then the all party team would be a good one as well.
The Streets Won't Forget 11 would be
Ooh, the
awesome.
Streets Won't
Yeah,
Forget 11. I was thinking
some
about
good
this the other
ones.
day with the Streets Won't Forget. Can you define a Streets Won't Forget player?
Nah, I don't think you can define it, man. I
That is exactly the answer I came to.
yeah.
The Streets Won't Forget
I
player is like porn. It doesn't need a
it
definition. You know it when you see it.
yeah. I feel like you could generalize it into two categories. There's the players that just had absolute crazy peaks for like somewhere between 1 to 3 seasons, or the players that never had a peak but were there for a long time and did things their own way, had their own attitude, their own personality, and just became synonymous with that team for you when you watch that team, or with that era if you watch that era, right? So I feel like we could probably break them into one of those two categories, but it's really hard to piece it out and to find the right way to define it, because we're just gonna have to leave it open ended and subjectivity at its absolute best when it comes to that
We're definitely going to
starting
need
11.
to create a team together because we're going to have 9 of the same 11 players. So
True,
we
true.
definitely got to do a collective one on that. So yeah, maybe
That'll
we'll
be a
do that
fun one.
next. But yeah,
Yeah.
that will be fun. The Streets Won't Forget. Do this on the way out, man. You know he's going to be our
All right.
starting forward.
All right, we're now well into the start of the off season. We have one more soccer game left from
This
coming
Saturday.
this
It's
coming.
this Saturday.
Yeah, we didn't even
Champions League
talk about it.
final. No
We
need.
didn't
We'll
even
talk
talk
about it when
about
it
it.
gets here.
We'll talk about it after. So yeah, it's gonna be an exciting weekend, and I'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.